again, so this is a great example of a stroke where we could pick on a number of symptoms, but I think there's just a couple root causes that will change a lot. So what I want you to notice is I play, what's the first thing that moves starting off the back of your stroke?
My band level.
Yeah. So from there, hips are square, shoulders are square. Start even a little bit sooner. Right, so hips are square there, and there's no rotation, there's no rotational difference in the hips from there to there. So there's a little bit of sit up, but most of the motion has been bottom arm, and now we're seeing some top shoulder and top arm as you pull that hand back. See how hips still haven't rotated? Now a tiny bit of hip rotation happening. And at your setup, so we see a little bit of hip rotation. You see how we see a lot more shoulder rotation? And then down to the stroke. So one of our key concepts here is that the hips need to lead both ends of the stroke. And when our hips don't lead, and sometimes that's a challenging thing, right? There's not a lot of motions we do where we sit down and have to rotate our hips. So I understand it takes a little while sometimes to get that feeling. When we don't have that hip rotation, the tendency is to move our shoulders, to lead our shoulders. Problem is we're weak up here relative to down here. It also, as we move up here, it moves our balance up in the boat as opposed to keeping our weight nice and low, which keeps us nice and balanced, keeps us nice and strong, keeps us nice and smooth. Right? So we see different things. We can talk about the arm, we can talk about the flick, we can talk about how high you're getting, but I think the biggest number one thing for you is going to be your hips. Okay? So for those of you that are struggling with hips, the easiest way to start is just every time you get in the boat, before you push off the dock, find your feet, don't worry about your paddle, and just push off your heels. And just push, 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 push. It's just like walking, right? You just try to find that rhythm. You know, you can start flat hips and then start working where you're just pivoting on that outside sit bone and just get that feel of that motion. The natural progression for most people is you get in the boat, your hips don't move, right? It's all upper body. Then hopefully somebody coaches you and you figure out how to move your hips, but they're not really connected to the stroke. Right? And then the third step is you figure out, okay, now I'm moving my hips, now I'm figuring out how to use them to apply power. So it takes some time, so be patient with yourself around that. But the first thing is going to be to start to learn how to move those hips. You can use some of the rest of these things as cues to help force your body to rely on your hips a little bit more. So one of the things we see is we see a big bottom arm lift and the big top arm disappearing to create that shoulder separation, that shoulder rotation. So we already talked about the exit lifting up with the bottom arm. Another concept we want to think about is our hand. We should see our hands throughout the stroke, right? And both hands. I don't want one of my hands to disappear above my visor where I can't see it, because that means it's not in a very good position. So I'm lifting up, I'm seeing my hands in front of me, I'm planting, I'm sitting up, my hands are more or less in front of me. Maybe this one gets beside me at points, but I can see it out of my peripheral vision. I can see my hands throughout the stroke at all times.